Okay, we're pulling into the marina where the new boat is located, and it's mostly guys power boats. You can see this. I think we're the only sailboat here right now, and it's coming up here on the left, and you can see the mast sticking up on the left side. And we got a bunch of work we got to get done today, and of course the parking lot is wet. I was hoping it wouldn't be wet, but it looks like the parking lot's wet today. So let's get to work. All right, so here we are at the boat, and this is looking at it. It's on the hard. You can see on those stilts. And what we got to work on today, or actually what I've already done so far, is sanded the bottom. So the bottom you can see is this ablative paint that wears off, you know, as you go through the water to keep growth and barnacles and things from sticking to the hull. So I sanded all that down over the last, or I think last week. I sanded all that down, and then you can see on here there's parts where it has what I think must have been like body filler, Bondo or something on there to fill in the gaps where the paint had fallen off in the past. So that's all sanded down. And there are some spots you can see where there are big chunks of paint that have fallen off. I actually sanded most of them down pretty good. So I'm not seeing any offhand here. A couple little small spots you can see where the paint has come through. But what I'd like to do today is wash the hull and then maybe try to start waxing it if I can, or polishing and waxing. So that is on the list for today. The main thing for today, however, is to get the stern tube rebed, and that is right up here. So what's going on here? This is where the propeller was attached. The other thing today is trying to get the hull cleaned and polished up, because you can see the fiberglass is a little oxidized in some spaces, so get it all polished up and then waxed. And you can see the transom there. The next thing after that is, it's got the old name you can barely see. We scraped the letters off. It used to be called Archangel. The new name is going to be Island Thistle. So we've already got the letters. We just have to polish that up and then put the letters back on and then wax over that. All right, so I got the stern tube on. It's got the sealant on there. We're moving up here toward the bow, and we've got two furlers on this one. There's a furler right here for the staysail. That thing right there rolls the staysail up along that foil there. And then there's another one up here. This is going to roll the Genoa up along there. So there are two sails in the front. A Genoa and a staysail, which are on order right now. I had to order new ones because this boat didn't have them. And then we got two anchors there. We got a CQR anchor on the left, and then we've got a Danforth type anchor on the right. And then we've got a windlass here. This thing right there, that's for pulling in the anchors, and it's powered. So like there's buttons down right here that you can push to go forward or backward to lift up or lower the anchor. So our last boat didn't have that. You had to pull it up by hand, which wasn't too bad because it wasn't that big. And now looking back toward the back, we got a lot of bird poop on here for some reason. Like where we're sitting is we're getting tons of birds sitting up in the mast and the boom and stuff. So this is looking at it. This little hatch here, this goes to the V berth up in the front. That hatch there goes into the head area. So the head area is in there. And then moving back here on this side, these things here are cowl vents that put air inside. This little hatch here goes down into the main saloon area. And moving back, and then into the cockpit again. And now we're going down below. And it's going to be dark for a second until we get adjusted to the light. There we go. And it's a complete mess in here right now, because right now I've got all the cushions that should be along here, and then on the back sides there, and cushions that should be over here on this side. All of those are crammed up in the V berth in the front. So that needs to be fixed, or I need to get all those things out of there because they're all crammed in there. And then here's the head for the boat. It has a freshwater head, and it's a electric one. So it's not like our old boat had the thing you had to pump. This one's electric, so you don't have to pump it, which I'm kind of like, I'm not sure whether I like that or not. There's the head sink. There's a shower in here. There's also this little door here also goes up toward the V-berth. But there's a shower, and the shower, what do you call it? The shower plastic thingy, whatever you call that, wraps around there and covers up the front part of the boat. This is the inside of the mast right here. So that mast goes all the way up through the deck and into the or to the top of the boat. We got some a lot of little storage areas here in this boat, which is nice. Little hanging locker right there. I can't get into the V-berth, but there's another hanging locker in there somewhere, back in there, and it's all full of stuff right now. But anyway, going back this way, there's lots of storage in here in the sides, up in here, these little sliders. It has an air conditioner, so that's the air conditioner vent right there, and the air conditioner is under this thing here, inside that where you sit there. And then over here, this is a table that folds down. This thing right there, that whole thing folds down and folds out, so you can sit on both sides, over here and over on the other side to sit at the table. And then let's see, there's that hatch that we saw from down below. And going back here, actually, let me turn around the other way. Now we got on this side, the galley is over here. So we've got a propane stove underneath this, under the bottle of Simple Green there. We've got a sink there that has pressurized water, and I'm not sure what I don't know what the other one is. That must be seawater, because there's not a foot pump. So I still have to figure out where all these things go and how all this stuff works. But here is the stove there. It has a really nice refrigerator in it, a refrigerator and freezer, and it's probably one of the more expensive things on the boat, believe it or not, because it's like top of the line refrigeration there. And over here we got the panel, and originally what this had is it had like a little car radio right there, and I pulled it out because I don't like it. I don't really want a radio in here. And so I pulled that out, and it also had a little Sirius XM radio thing right there. So I pulled that out as well, because I don't want that either. And I'm going to move the VHF radio, which was mounted up here. I'm going to move that over here into that hole. And it's a little bit smaller, but I cut a piece of black ABS plastic that's going to cover this whole entire area, and have a little cutout for the VHF. So that will go in there, and it'll make that area look a little nicer. And then back in here, this is the quarter berth. So the quarter berth, I got all my tools in here because I've been messing around back here. This is where I was earlier today, trying to get that stern tube in. And I'm going to turn my flashlight on because I want to shine it back here so you can see, because it's kind of dark. But these compartments back here are bilge compartments. They go down into the bilge, and you can see right there, that's the stern tube, that metal thing right there. That's the stern tube that's coming through the outside that we just put in today. And then over here on this side, there's the engine. It's a Yanmar 3GM20F, so it's a 3-cylinder diesel. And it's the same one. It's the same type of motor as I had on my last boat, but this one is a 3-cylinder. My last one was a 2GM20F, which is a 2-cylinder. So this is just all the parts are pretty much interchangeable, like the oil filters and all that stuff. This one though has a like a high output alternator on there. Right there, it's a Balmore high output alternator, because it's got, like I had that, it has the AC, it has the fancy refrigerator, it has an autopilot behind this panel here. There's an autopilot there, and all of those things take power. So it needs a lot of electricity And it has 3 house batteries and 1 starter battery. And those are under here, under that area right there. So in order to charge those batteries, it needs the high output alternator and keep them charged. It has no solar on it, and that's kind of my plan. Probably my next thing I'd like to do is get a couple solar panels at least. My last boat had 1 panel on it, and that kept the battery topped off. But it only had 2 batteries. Now I got 4, so I might have to get like a couple solar panels to try to keep some power into the battery without running the engine all the time. But that's pretty much it. Oh, also, right there, you can get into the engine from here. You pull the steps off, and then you take that thing off right there, and you can get into the engine from that side. The engine access is pretty decent compared to my last boat. It's not the best, but it's not the worst. So that's pretty much the tour of the boat there, and that's about it. There it is. Boom, and like magic, the propeller is back on. This is a max prop. It's a folding prop, so you can see it rotates depending on whether it's going forward or backward. And then if it's if you're sailing, it centers itself to reduce the drag on the propeller, so makes you go through the water quicker, allegedly.